Hello, everyone, and welcome to the stream. I am Raw Zim, and this is Kur Tales, Life in a World of Darkness. This is a little segment that we do every now and then where Kur basically shares a whole bunch of lore about the various worlds that he does the storytelling in. I'll go ahead and turn it over now to Kur.
Hello, everyone. I'm Kur. I'm resident storyteller in this one of, I should say, DM/storyteller, depending on which game we're playing. I have played World of Darkness for over a decade now. Probably about 14, 15 years now I've played World of Darkness. I've played Exalted. I have played basically all of White Wolf's games. I played D&D back in 3rd edition and 3.5. I have been playing RPGs for a very, very long time. Just a little background, because I don't usually get to talk about it that much. I know World of Darkness like the back of my hand, which is one of the reasons we came up with the idea for this. Basically, when we do our games, the audience and such might not know the lore very well. They might not know really anything that's going on, or really kind of understand what the world is like. So this is one of the little things where we can kind of sit back, relax, hang out, and basically talk about stuff and answer questions, which I will answer now. Jitsuski asks, so World of Darkness has a lot of spin-off systems? Yes and no. Not exactly. When it comes to the World of Darkness, the World of Darkness uses the Storyteller I can talk, I swear. The Storyteller system, where basically all of the systems are exactly the same. You have the same layout of the character sheet. You have the same system basically across the line. If you look at like vampire versus mage versus werewolf versus mummy versus pretty much any of the games, they're going to be very, very close to each other. The differences come in the second half of the character sheet. One half of the character sheet is your attributes and your abilities. Basically, what is your character good at? Are they strong? Are they smart? Are they good looking? Are they manipulative? That sort of thing. Do they know how to use guns? Do they know how to drive? Are they school taught? Like all that type of stuff. All of that is basically the same across the board. Once you do that, you can fly through that basically through no matter what game you're doing. The more difficult part's going to be when you move into the second part of the character sheet, the lower half of the sheet, because that is the part that is unique to each game. So, for instance, mages have their spheres, which is their understanding of reality and making reality do what the hell they want it to do. While for vampires, that's where you have your disciplines and your special abilities there, such as being super strong, super tough, being able to manipulate people's brains and such. Werewolves, that's where you have your gifts, the abilities you learn from the spirits, and so on and so forth for each game. Each group has their own special powers, their special abilities, very different from each other. When you rate them in power, probably most people will tell you a mage is going to be the strongest. And for those who are in my mage game on Sundays, would you agree with me there that mages are probably the most powerful?
In ways.
I would say vampires can be, if you get the drop on the mage.
Yeah, a mage, if they have preparation time and time to set up and prepare what they're doing, a mage is probably going to curb stop anyone if they have enough time. They're like Batman. Give them enough prep time and information, they can kill you pretty easily with very little effort. They are not so good at you coming at them guns blazing when it's 12 o'clock at night and they're asleep. That's where they're probably going to get themselves stomped.
That's where werewolves prevail.
Werewolves, if a werewolf gets close to you, I hope you have really good life insurance because your beneficiaries are going to need it.
Werewolves are like, well, I don't want to give you time to prepare. Kill now.
Werewolves are extremely difficult to put down, and unless you know what you're doing, a werewolf can basically get across the room and rip your throat out before you even realize what's going on. Werewolves
life insurance won't pay out if it's just a smear on the wall.
This is true. A vampire is probably at its most dangerous when you don't know he's there. Vampires do not necessarily like being loud, so to speak. They're usually one of the quietest groups. But that doesn't mean they can't just punch your head off your shoulders. I mean, trust me, they can if they want to, depending on what type of vampire it is. When it comes to just like sheer abilities, though, like you said there, Foxfiend, my understanding is that a mage is able to wield the most power, but also has the most backlash for it. That's true. Paradox is what balances mage. Paradox is what happens to a mage who decides to try to push reality. Reality pushes back and kicks them in the dick. The more you push, the harder you push, the more reality kicks you in the dick. Or, as we like to call it, bonk. We'll ask, so vampires like rogue sneak attack? Not necessarily. Like, a vampire society is built around subterfuge and politics. They are a very, very old group, and those who are old tend to still be alive and are the most powerful. The older a vampire gets, the more powerful they become. So when an old vampire tells someone to do something, they do it. But they also prefer not being loud. They like to control things from behind the scenes. They have money, they have power, they have influence. There's no reason to get into a gunfight when there's no reason to. That's not to say they can't. Some vampires are more than willing to get their hands dirty because they just enjoy it.
Fun!
Yeah, I mean, depending on the vampire that you're dealing with, some vampires just like killing people to kill people because it's enjoyable to them. So it's not necessarily to say that they can't do it. And believe me, a vampire versus a human, the human's probably going to lose. 90% of the time, if they don't know what they're doing. Against vampires, guns do not work against them. In the damage system of World of Darkness, vampires suffer bashing damage from guns. So it's like us getting punched in the face. They don't care. They can heal that no problem. What you need against a vampire is a sword or open fire. So like a torch or something. That will get the vampire's attention and get them away from you.
Flamethrower.
Flamethrowers are also very good. What I would recommend, if you can do it against a nest of vampires, if you know where they're sleeping during the day, high explosives, blow up the building, and then set the remains of the building on fire.
So, take out vampires like you would like aliens in Alien.
Pretty much,
Or
yeah.
spiders.
You don't want to get into a fight with a vampire if you can avoid it. Unless you know exactly what and who you're dealing with, it's not going to end well if you're a human. Other supernaturals can probably deal with a vampire fairly easily, provided the vampire isn't suddenly just behind you and then just rips your head off. Vampires are one of the fastest groups because of their celerity. Celerity is their super speed, and some of them can move so fast that they can literally take 3 or 4 turns before one person can.
Hey,
So,
I got a bit of a tangent of a question.
yeah.
But wasn't there like an in-game lore explanation for like Jesus Christ? Like, wasn't he like a mage or something?
Everyone says he's part of them.
Part of them.
Everyone says he's their group.
Vampires say he was a
Oh.
vampire. Werewolves say he was a werewolf. Mages say he was a mage.
Long
Jesus
story
Christ, the
short,
jack of all trades.
No one, no
he
one can agree on it.
he actually existed in World of Darkness.
Yeah, no one can agree on what he was.
He was
Jit,
something.
to answer your question, are werewolves still weak to silver? Depends on the type. There are multiple different species of were in World of Darkness. You have the werewolves, and then what are called the Fera. The Fera are going to be creatures like werecats, hyenas, were crocodiles, were ravens, the were snakes, the were spiders, basically your other breeds. Some breeds, like the werewolf, and most of the others, the werecats, the were hyenas, and such, are weak to silver. If you shoot a werewolf or stab it with silver, they cannot regenerate that wound. It is much, much slower to regenerate and heal. One of the main enemies of werewolves, the Corporation of Pentex, outfits all of their basically their in-house army with silver bullets, specifically because of that. There are other breeds though. Specifically the two biggest ones are usually the were ravens and the were crocodiles. They are not weak to silver, they are weak to gold. The reason for this is because Luna, goddess of the moon, gives her patronage to many of the shifters in World of Darkness. Because of that, they suffer a penalty to silver because of her patronage. On the other hand, the were ravens and the were crocodiles, or basically were reptiles. They're not just crocs. The Makole are what they're called. Suffer damage from gold due to the patronage from Helios, the god of the sun. He's the big backer for them. So
I can play Were Raven.
yes, you can.
What's shiny?
Actually, yeah, they're very much. Nothing happens without a were raven seeing it. They're really, really good spies. When it comes to technically, actually going back, there's probably one group that's probably stronger than all the others, and that's probably a demon, because one of the fallen is really, really strong with what they can do. If they're willing to go loud and they go into their apocalypse form, I believe that's what it's still called. Basically their true form in the human body they're inhabiting, they can do some really, really crazy shit with their lores, which is what their powers are called. The issue is a demon cannot usually use a lot of their abilities without faith. And in order to get faith, they have to go to people and make deals. And then they get faith every single day as long as they can keep, as long as they basically keep their word with the person that they made a deal with. Or they can just rip the faith right out of somebody and just basically almost shatter their soul if it gets bad enough. Depends on the demon, honestly. But demons are one of the most powerful creatures in the World of Darkness. Though going back to that, we do have technically the newest people on the streets. One of the ones I wanted to talk to specifically about today because they're very, very fun, and I think a lot of you would have a lot of background for this, are the Hunters, the sort of newest member on the block of the supernatural circles. They only showed up recently back in 1999, 2000 is when they first started showing up after the Week of Nightmares happened. Oh, joy, the Week of Nightmares. Yeah, you guys are going to hear that term come up a lot. Yeah. Hunters are. How many of you have seen Supernatural?
Bits and pieces.
I mean, you know I did.
It's been a long time.
You have about 90% of the information you need in order to know what a hunter is. A hunter is a human being who was going through their normal life and suddenly their eyes were opened. Like, say you're working in an office, and as you are walking towards your cubicle, you suddenly hear a voice speak in your ear going, "It does not breathe." And suddenly one of your coworkers looks like an actual corpse, rotting corpse ready to rip someone's head off. That is what's called the imbuing. A moment a hunter is created. What the person chooses to do next decides what kind of hunter they become. If a hunter tries to protect people, they might become a defender or a martyr. If a hunter goes straight for the kill, they might become an avenger. If the hunter tries to decide what's going on, they might become a visionary or a judge, depending on what actions they take. Note, a hunter does not need to specifically do something in that immediate moment. They could decide, okay, I'm going to track this creature, so when it's away from any bystanders where it can hurt people, that's when they're going to act. If a hunter runs or does nothing, they lose all potential powers they would have gained and become what's called a bystander. They know of the supernatural world now, but they are powerless to do anything about it. Hunters are basically, they're still normal people, but they have a few special tricks. Very close to what Sam and Dean are like towards like season 3, 4, and 5. And then pretty much everywhere onwards, they're hunters at that point from World of Darkness. They have supernatural powers. They have supernatural weapons. They have the whole king caboodle. Yes. The thing is, a hunter doesn't know who the hell they're working for. They don't really have any organization. A hunter doesn't know about other hunters normally. It's rare for a multi-imbuing to happen at the same time. It does happen, but it's not very common for that to happen.
Don't they have
Hunters.
HunterNet?
Yes, I was about to talk about that. HunterNet was an organization that was set up for hunters by a hunter that only hunters could actually use. What was the nightmare thingy you mentioned before? Jits, to answer that question, the Week of Nightmares. The Week of Nightmares is one of my favorite little events of the World of Darkness. It is where shit really went bad. Like, really, really went bad.
Welcome the
So-
old ones.
I
Pretty
think I've heard
much.
about a show that's about this. I think it's called Hunter x Hunter.
Haha.
So what ended up happening here was the werewolf, or wow, brain bad. The vampires have a saying, basically during their end of the world, Gehenna, the antediluvians, the oldest living vampires other than Cain, will wake up, rise up, and then eat all of them. At least that's the stories and such. During the Week of Nightmares, one of them woke up. The Ravnos Antediluvian woke up. The Ravnos being one of the clans of vampires. His actual name is Ravnos. The clan was named after him. When he woke up, he drove all of his children insane because their abilities were illusions and trickery. So he basically mind fucked all of them and drove them absolutely batshit fucking crazy, and they started killing each other, as well as anyone around them. And then he started to make his way towards the nearest city so he could feed. he was going to eat every vampire he came across to feed himself. During this moment, though, when this happened, there are a group of vampires called the Kuei Jin, which are basically Eastern vampires, Chinese vampires, so to speak. 3 of their bodhisattvas, the most powerful Kuei Jin, the Kuei Jins who basically have like thousands of years of training, knowledge, and smarts, 3 of them came to stop the antediluvian. And they proceeded to fight the Ravnos antediluvian for almost a week straight. When the sun started rising up on the first day, they conjured a tsunami to block out the sun and to stop it while they kept fighting him, to keep him back and to put him down. During this, the other organizations that are in the know also were freaking the fuck out. The Technocracy, for instance, which is basically, for those of you who know the SCP Foundation, they are basically the Foundation. We're freaking the fuck out. Yes, they are basically the Foundation.
The
They were
Mage Foundation.
They were freaking the fuck out at this because it's like, oh god, this is bad. This is really, really bad. They started to go into damage control and trying to figure out what the hell they could do. And they basically started to arrange some of their satellites in orbit to shine a concentrated beam of sunlight through the cloud cover and down onto the Ravnos antediluvian. It didn't kill it. Still, it didn't kill it. So this fighting went on.
Joke.
And during all this, one of the Foundation members, I'm just going to call them that because why not? One of the Technocracy members, Xerxes Jones was his name, got the really bright idea of wanting to experiment in the underworld, where there is basically a yawning hole that leads directly to oblivion that unmakes anything that falls into it. He wanted to see what would happen if he took the spirit nukes from the bombs that fell on Nagasaki and Hiroshima and detonated them at the mouth of oblivion. He wanted to see what would happen, trying to see if he could make it smaller or close it or collapse it. Okay.
Science.
The thing is, at the exact moment he detonated those bombs, the technocrats basically dropped a magical nuke on the Ravnos antediluvian to finally kill him. At the same exact moment. These 2 events at the same time caused one of the worst disasters in all of the World of Darkness. Basically, what happened was in the underworld, the sixth great maelstrom began. A giant storm of souls came pouring out from the labyrinth near oblivion, filled with the darkest, evilest, most cruel and corrupted souls riding the winds, ready to tear the underworld down and basically destroy everything that came across them. And in the real world, everyone who was even slightly sensitive had horrific nightmares, and everyone who was in the spirit world at the time basically had their soul ripped out, shattered into pieces, and murdered on the spot.
Real quick, I need to be right back. I need to go pick someone up. I will be back in probably 30 minutes.
No worries. But this became known in the spirit world as the Avatar Storm, and it specifically affects mages the most. The wall between the mortal world and the spirit world got extremely thick and difficult to cross. And basically everything that had been going at that point basically got upended and thrown around. Everyone had been saying that the antediluvians didn't exist, that they were all myths and fake. And suddenly one of them woke up. They suddenly had to go, well, oh shit, fuck. Maybe they weren't so wrong after all. Mages on both sides, the technocrats and the normal awakened mages, lost contact with their upper ranks. The strongest mages were cut off because they were in the spirit world at the time. So basically, the babies were left alone unsupervised. Werewolves suddenly found it harder and harder to get into the spirit world, and really nasty things had gotten out. Demons were let loose back into the world again. The fallen from that. They were released from their prison and started possessing bodies. So they're back. And then the hunters started getting called. Because, oh shit, everything's breaking. We need someone to help fix it. That was the week of nightmares. The World of Darkness, even like a decade or two later, still has not fixed itself after the sheer upheaval that happened from that.
So who are the beasts and the deviants?
The beasts are something from New World of Darkness. A beast is someone who has nightmares. They keep dreaming the same dream every day, every night, of being chased and pursued by something. Something is hunting them. Something is trying to kill them. They can feel it. They know it. And then usually when they're a teenager, sometimes pushing into their adulthood, depends. The thing catches them in their dreams and devours them. The thing is, though, that doesn't kill them. That awakens the beast. A beast is... Think all like the supernatural creatures that you know from myths. Dragons, griffins, kelpies. I'm running through basically any type of supernatural creature from myth or legend. That's going to be a beast. Any creature from like Greek mythology, the Medusa, Gorgon, the satyrs, creatures like that. Think pretty much across all mythologies, creatures like that are usually beasts. A beast's job is to put fear into people, to put fear into a city or group. They're meant to be teachers. A monster teaches lessons of fear to people so that they don't do stupid shit. So that they understand that there are some things that they aren't meant to do for their own safety and such. Then on the opposite side, you have the hero. Heroes are meant to take those lessons from the beast and basically spread them out among the population to teach them. The thing is, it kind of got fucked up because monsters have power, and if a hero kills a monster, they get stronger. So, yeah. Doesn't always work out. But that's the way it's actually supposed to work. And for the... Well, you're talking about the deviants there. That is the full term is going to be a reality deviant. Usually what this is going to be used in terms, that's going to be a technocrat, aka the foundation we've been talking about. That's the term they use for mages, a reality deviant, because for the technocracy, they want reality to be organized. They want everything to work the way it's supposed to work. The laws of physics exist. They are laws. They are not guidelines. They are not things you can willy-nilly break. You can't just wave your fingers, speak a word, and chuck a fireball at someone. That's not the way things are done.
I can.
No! But that's the term they use for mages, reality deviants. They believe that doing that weakens reality and causes damage to it. So the technocracy is, to answer your question, Jits, so the technocracy is the main antagonist entity of these settings? Not necessarily. The technocracy is one of the goodest bad guys in World of Darkness. They are the antagonist group for Mage. However, when it
I'll put it this way. In World of Darkness, there's shades of gray. There isn't really good, there isn't really bad for most things.
the technocracy wants to make reality safe for humanity. That's their job. That's what they put themselves to. And the thing is, they aren't necessarily wrong. Because way back when, back basically from up until about the 13th or 14th century, give or take, mages were more powerful because reality didn't always say you couldn't fly or chuck fireballs. People believed that was possible. So yeah, you could do it. And mages preyed on humans. They were worshipped as gods. They took over cities. They murdered entire nations that pissed them off. The original technocracy, the Order of Reason, basically came together as a group that was dedicated to protecting humanity from the depredations of other mages. That was their goal, was to protect humans from being preyed on by these people who could do all these things. They were trying to understand the world with science and technology and to keep the world safe from all of these supernatural creatures, especially mages. Because, yeah, things were really bad for people at the time. Flash forward to modern day, and the technocracy still has that goal. They're willing to do whatever it takes to protect reality and to protect people. They are willing to work with mages. There is a group called the Nefandis. The Nefandis are basically mages who have had their souls ripped out, turned inside out, and then stuffed back inside of them, who are bent on basically eradicating reality itself and erasing it. If a Nefandis shows up, or worse, and the technocracy finds out about it, the technocracy is going to be willing to work with the local mages and not backstab them afterwards. That's how big of a deal a Nefandis showing up is. And even when they're kind of butting heads and such, it kind of depends on the technocratic member in doing the talking and such, but they are more than willing to recruit mages to their organization. Because if mages can be taught to control their abilities and to basically understand that their powers might not be magic, but some sort of quantifiable scientific process, then they could be very good technocrat members. Because, fun fact, all the upper echelons of the technocracy are also mages. They just don't believe in magic. They believe in science. So all their super tech is just magic. It's just the way they do magic. When it comes to the World of Darkness, there is a lot of shades of gray, but there are a few black. The Black Spiral Dancers, the werewolves who fell to the worm. The worm is a being of corruption and basically pure, almost total evil now at this point, who wants to destroy reality. The Nephandic mages basically want to just do the same thing. Those two groups are pretty much always going to be chaotic evil. Always and completely, no matter what. When it comes to like the monsters though, vampires, werewolves and such, you're more or less going to kind of go case by case basis. Some vampires are going to be sadistic monsters who will turn you into a couch because they want to. Yes, there's a group of there's a discipline for vampires called vivisectitude, which allows them to manipulate flesh with a touch and to reshape it and remake it. they're not well liked among the vampires because that group is very, very twisted. But honestly, for the most part, creatures in the world of darkness are not always evil. You're going to have to. Some vampires very much get along with people. Some vampires want to make the world a better place. The thing is, they still have to feed on people. So, yeah, they don't need to kill people always. Like you can feed so much from multiple people, for instance. But it's sort of a case by case basis. The thing is, people don't usually do case by case basis. You hear vampire, you think blood sucking monster. And it's even worse for the people who have actually encountered one of these things and lived to tell the tale. Let's see, what else could we talk about? Ooh. Okay, I got something fun.
I thought you were going to be focusing on the hunters more.
I was, and then we just got into all this discussion, though, so I was answering people's questions. This actually plays a little bit into that, though, because this actually became a very, very big problem with the Week of Nightmares, and it's one of the big issues that hunters deal with the most. The Risen. The Risen are basically ghosts who got hurled out of the underworld when the maelstrom happened and got thrown back into their bodies, their dead bodies, which basically, when their souls were thrown back into it, healed the bodies and then allowed them to basically reassume whatever life they had beforehand. They aren't alive. They're still dead, but most people wouldn't be able to tell. Hunters deal with them a lot. But jumping over, though, because that is a good point, going back to the hunters. Hunter is probably, without exception, the weakest game. You're basically a normal human in that game. And you don't necessarily know what you're always walking into. As I've told my players, and I'll say this here, Supernatural is a amazing show to watch.
Hunter is all about fighting smarter, not harder.
If you just go rushing in and try to wing it in Hunter, you're going to die. Very quickly, very often. Hunters deal basically with whatever supernatural creatures are in their neck of the woods. Because remember, most hunters have families. Most hunters have a job. Most hunters have, a life before all this happened. So some of them aren't going to be very well equipped to do what they need to do. Some of them might not even know what the hell they are doing and are just kind of making it up as they go. And a lot of hunters don't usually survive for like more than a year or two. It's very common for hunters to die relatively quickly after they are called. The thing that protects them from that jits who asked, they sound easy to manipulate or blackmail. The thing is, none of the other supernatural factions can detect hunters. To any supernatural creature's senses, a hunter is just a normal person. Even when the hunter whips out their edges, which are their supernatural abilities, a creature will not detect those powers. It's one of the few saving graces a hunter has. But say you take a swing at a vampire and you miss, and the vampire finds out who you are or what your name is, they can ruin your life. They could get you arrested. They could blackmail you, just like you say. Like, they could make you like one of the most wanted. They could spin a story about how you're emotionally unstable and hallucinating. Like, there are so many different things the powers that be could do to you if they know that you are a hunter and you're not either A, willing to play ball, or B, you're a threat to them. It depends on the hunter. Some hunters are willing to live and let live. Some hunters are, we need to kill every supernatural creature around. It depends on the hunter. It depends on which creed they belong to, what their personal beliefs are, and what they're willing to do or how far they're willing to go. No matter what, a hunter is always going to feel called to the hunt. Once they make that choice to fight, they're always going to feel the call to hunt, to fight, and protect people. And hunters get stronger by their fanaticism. In order to power their edges, their special abilities, it requires basically faith and belief in themselves, their conviction. By spending conviction, basically by putting their all into something and then succeeding, their belief in themselves is affirmed and they become stronger. And as that happens, their fanaticism goes up and up and up and up. So the strongest hunters have the most powerful edges and are actually like really, really powerful and like scary strong. The thing is, though, they are completely single-mindedly devoted to hunting supernatural creatures. For example, I believe it is the innocents who have this ability, but at their highest ability, I believe, if I remember correctly, they can actually restore a supernatural creature to being a human again. Doesn't matter what they are, they can restore them. Like, hunters are not usually that powerful, but they can break the rules because of who is basically funding their power. It's less depression.
Something I didn't
Oh, go ahead.
notice you say is that while hunters are completely invisible to supernatural beings are not invisible to hunters.
Yes, that is a good point. I should go into that. Thank you. Hunters get what is called the sight. Hunters are able to detect supernatural creatures just by being in their general proximity, and then can activate their sight to actually see a creature. They won't know exactly what it is, but say, for example, a hunter runs into a vampire and they don't realize it's a vampire. Their sight is going to go off, though. And they're going to get that feeling that something isn't right about this person, and they can activate it.
They get their
When they
spidey
do,
sense.
pretty much, yeah. When a hunter does so, the vampires, their bodies could change to the hunter's sight. Their body could look pale and emaciated like a corpse. And they have really, really long fangs going down and basically like dripping blood. For a hunter who's been doing this for a while, usually they'll be able to figure out, okay, that's a vampire, and be able to figure out what to do from there. Most of the time, a hunter is not going to fight something unless they absolutely have to. Well, I take that back. A hunter is not going to get into an open fight unless they absolutely have to. Unless the supernatural creature is making the first attack at them and they're defending themselves, normally a hunter is always going to either retreat, run, or keep things silent, or basically undercover as much as possible. Because if a hunter gets into an open fight without like preparations, their weapons, their gear, and usually a plan or backup, a hunter is probably going to die. Even then, if a hunter gets jumped, it's going to be a rough fight for them. Yes, a lot of hunters are going to favor either hit and run tactics or basically ambushes. Not to say some hunters are good enough that they can take on actual supernatural creatures in an open fight. It's very rare that a hunter is that good that they can keep up with a supernatural being, but there are a couple of them that are actual, like, genuine threats. Jits, to answer your question, do they not work with other hunters? Yes and no. It depends on the hunter. The issue is hunters don't always know other hunters. Hunters can't identify each other. They can leave markings called hunters have their own language, hunter code, which are basically sigils and glyphs that they can leave on something. And hunters can identify that and innately know that. If a hunter sees a glyph, they will it's like us looking at it in our native language. They know what that glyph means. It's like reading a book for them.
It's thieves' cant.
Yeah. Every hunter automatically can read and understand the glyphs. The thing is, though, other than HunterNet, that's the only way that they can communicate. And even then, hunters don't always trust each other because hunters, they don't know who's on the other line of that computer. They don't know who is there. They don't know if they're going to be actually willing to help, or what if hunter, it is rare, but it has happened before where HunterNet has been compromised slightly by supernatural creatures using means and ends to do it. It's very rare, but it's happened before. So you never know if you might actually be talking to a supernatural creature using a hunter as a go-between, and then you're being led into a trap. Fox Fiend asks, but if a hunter is fighting a supernatural in open fight, it would probably be because they're protecting something? Yes. Yes. Usually a hunter will engage with a supernatural creature if it means protecting someone. Almost all hunters will do that. Only like the most jaded hunters will actually leave someone basically to die. Actually, another good show for Hunter is actually Buffy the Vampire Slayer. That's also a very good show for Hunter. Let's see. But one of the big issues that hunters have, though, is once you become a hunter, you are... Frosty asks, so has there been any instances where a hunter has dated a supernatural? It can happen. Yeah, it can 100% happen. Some hunters do work with supernatural creatures. Some hunters are willing to do so. And it's possible for a hunter to fall in love. There are also cases, too, of children who have been called as hunters. There is actually, I believe he is 12 years old, a canon child. He uses a baseball bat. He's an Avenger. And his bat basically catches onto supernatural fire that only supernatural creatures can see. But he is a canon hunter. Young or old, anyone can be called. But yeah, no, a hunter can totally... The only hard and fast rules for a hunter is usually they do not have any knowledge of the supernatural beforehand and have no ties to a supernatural creature or group. All right, Jits asks, okay, so who is the main bother for werewolves? The big antagonist for the werewolves are going to be the worm, which is basically the embodiment of corruption in the world of darkness.
Real
It
quick,
used to. Yes.
I do want to point out something regarding Foxfiend's comment there. In like the mechanic side, you can actually choose to play as a child.
Yes, you can.
It's actually a flaw that you can take, which in turn can allow you to pick up some really powerful abilities because it's like minus 10 points or something around there.
Yeah, child is like a -5, -7. It's a very high point flaw.
Yeah. But it comes with a lot of penalties because, you know, obviously if you're a kid walking around with a minigun, that is, I mean, it's going to draw attention anyways, but it's especially going to draw attention for a kid, especially if you're wandering around at night or anything.
Imagine a child that's trying to walk into a club or bar in order to chase a supernatural creature that went in there.
Exactly. Honestly, part of me kind of wants to try that out just because it seems like it'd be a fun roleplay experience, but that's a whole other thing.
I've done it a couple of times myself. I've played a couple of children in World of Darkness. It's really, really fun, and it does lead to some really interesting roleplay moments because it's like it can be both very, very good at times because no one really pays attention to kids. So it's like you can spy and such. But other times it's like I need to go in there with them, and how am I supposed to get inside? I can't even go see PG-13 rated movies yet.
But on the flip side, it does also mean that you can pick up some really powerful abilities.
Fuck, my feet don't reach the pedals. I'm the only one who can drive right now. Everyone else is down. All right, I need a brick. But yes, but yeah, no, it's really interesting to try doing a child character. You can't really do it with a werewolf because werewolves have to be a certain age before they go through the first change, unless you're playing a Matisse, which then that's a whole hell of another problem set that you're going to have. Matisse are werewolves who were born as werewolves. Their parents broke the rules and they're basically stuck in their werewolf form until they reach their teenage years. They're usually pretty badly abused and not really well taken care of.
I think some of them are also like deformed as well too, from what I've heard.
Yes, every Matisse has a deformity because of their because of the way they were born. One of the rules for werewolves is no werewolf will lay with a werewolf because bad things happen when they do. The Matisse are born. A Matisse will always have a deficiency either in body, mind, or spirit. What this represents is you have to take a flaw. You usually have to take a pretty bad flaw, depending on what you want to choose for your character. And then you're stuck. Your true form is your werewolf form, which is the form you're most comfortable in. And you basically are kept locked up for like the first 14 or 15 years of your life, unable to interact with people or usually let out of a very, very small area because if you do, well, you're breaking the law. Many Matisse are either murdered at birth or thrown away and given to other groups who will actually take them in and take care of them. It just so happens
Matisse basically suffer from advanced inbreeding kind of situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Matisse are basically always 9-foot tall snarling death beasts.
Until they get
Um,
older.
eh, Yeah, then they can shift between human and wolf just like everybody else can. Usually the tribe that usually takes them in is the Children of Gaia, my personal favorite tribe. I love the children. The children are not soft, despite what people say. The Children of Gaia are the peace speakers. They're the ones who try to get everyone to fucking stop yelling at each other and work together. But everyone says, oh, they're hippies. They just love peace. Oh, they don't have a backbone. You piss a Children of Gaia off enough and you're going to have fucking hell coming after you. They have really long tempers, but as people have learned in the world, you mess with the Children of Gaia, they will crush you. Just as badly as other werewolf tribes will if you push them hard enough.
You haven't seen the fury of Gaia till you see one of them mad.
Uh-huh. Usually when one of them gets mad, every other person just stops and goes, well, how about we back it up here? If they get angry, that usually means something here. But the Children of Gaia have basically a standing open door policy, that any Matisse that are not wanted, they will take in. 100%. No questions asked. They are actually the largest tribe because of that. So yeah, they actually do have power. It's just the matter of it. They don't usually use it unless they have to. There's only been a handful of times that they've actually used their force of numbers and power that they have, and usually they only do that when shit really hits the fan. Let's see. Yeah, the Children of Gaia are probably my personal favorites because the thing is, and this is from the creators themselves, with this, is if all of the werewolves could get together and actually work together, they would be able to defeat the worm. They would be able to crush him and all of his forces. The thing is, none of the fucking tribes can actually work together usually, because they're always arguing, they're always fighting, they're always saying, well, no, we should be in charge, no, we know better, no, we're going to keep our secrets and not tell these other people how to deal with that problem. Because honor and standing and we are much better than these lots. And it's like, you are all fucking idiots. Half the reason the worm is doing as well as he's doing is because the werewolves just can't get their heads out of their asses. Oh, sorry about that. Pretty much, yeah. Frostowski to answer. That sounds like the way the world is now. Yeah, that's one of the issues. If the groups could work together, if they could actually get along and share the information and knowledge that they have, they could stop the worm. That's their goal. That's everyone's driving force, to stop the worm and to save Gaia.
But even if you stop the worm, there'll still be grandmother waiting.
For those of you who don't know, grandmother, aka the Grandma, is oblivion itself. When the Week of Nightmares happened, it woke her up. And she now seeks to basically eat everything. And right now she's starting with the underworld.
Be back in a bit.
It is not good, but there's not a lot people can do to stop her. It's pretty bad. The world of darkness is heading for its end. It's going to be almost impossible to
May
actually save it.
darkness prevail.
Tiger, I'm gonna send that back, but right now we're not actually having a tabletop game. Also, you can't curse everyone.
Darkness. One of the things I do want to make a mention of, because considering
Does it? Okay. Well, maybe I'm wrong, Tiger, but still. Carry on.
in the I run 2 games. I run World of Darkness and I run Exalted. Exalted in my world predates the World of Darkness, because the original lore that they set up for the original Exalted was actually meant to be that. It was meant to be a prelude to the World of Darkness, and different groups would eventually become the groups that are in the World of Darkness. So I like to keep that lore.
And there's also a reason why there was a spin-off game that some people created called Katanas in Trench Coats.
One of the things, though, is some of the makers of Exalted, they work for Onyx Path. So they work for the people who make World of Darkness. A couple of the head developers for Exalted got together and they actually made rules and charms and such for the Exalted in modern day. So I actually have rules, charms, character creation. I have everything for playing an Exalted, a solar, lunar, sidereal, dragon blood in the World of Darkness. I am currently of the mind it would only take a single solar to actually probably fix things. Like, I know I was just talking about, like, yeah, basically the World of Darkness is doomed and probably going to die no matter what we do. We're basically just delaying the inevitable. Put 1 solar on the case, I think it's going to be fixed within a week or 2.
I don't know. Limit still is there.
True, but the Ebon Dragon is basically just the worm. I'm pretty sure a solar with enough time and effort can basically one-man army through Malpheus. Slaughter basically everything that gets in his way, and then kill the worm itself by drawing it into reality and then punching it hard enough. This is sort of what they do.
They killed
Now it's just a matter of
something that... They strangled something that does not need to breathe to death. I think they can pull this off.
We have an army of the foulest spirits. Yeah, and? Bitch, please. I do that for, like, breakfast. So, where's the actual army? Wait, what? What? No, but I have 10,000. Yeah. Cannon fodder. That's what we call them. So, come on. I'll let you even have the first attack. Come at me, bro. Yeah, no. Once if any of the Exalted actually showed up in the World of Darkness, it's not the matter of if the World of Darkness will be saved, it's a matter of when. How much effort is the Exalted going to put into actually doing it? And then, is the World of Darkness going to be able to survive the Exalted?
What's Sark gonna do?
Because I don't know if... I don't know. I've always imagined it, and I was actually working once on a short story detailing like that exact sort of scenario of what would happen if any of the Exalted showed up. And it's like, yeah, no, give it a week or two. They could probably fix most things. The biggest issues that all the groups struggle to deal with, a Solar could deal with that. But yes, this is a little bit off topic. Questions?
Nevis, King of
I'm gonna-
Conquerors. I think he could handle it.
Yeah. I'm. Imagine if Nevis showed up in the World of Darkness with his army.
Where's Sark at?
I mean, he wouldn't even need his army.
I know, but imagine if he showed up with his army.
Oh, that'll be great.
Nevis
yes,
finds out about guns and
and
tanks and jets, and then
And-
begins developing charms to use them.
Tiger, Octo is in this game. You see that adorable Drake icon here on the screen?
Shush
That's
you.
Octo.
Shush you. Shush you.
The super
He's
cute cloud dog.
I'm not cute. How dare.
Super cute cloud.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you're cute.
Nope.
Anyways, back on topic.
So first, actually, I'm going to open up the floor to you guys. Are there any questions about the World of Darkness that you guys are kind of curious about? Or just like random questions that you want to ask? It can be about my games, it can be about the lore, it can be about anything. Foxfiend is asking, since it's came up, who all is who and what characters do they play in the Werewolf campaign? I will turn that over to you guys.
So during
should
a
we start?
normal tabletop session, which tonight is not a normal one, we would have a introduction, Foxfiend. But in this case, you know, I am Zim. I play Michael. Michael is the spy, kind of the face of the group. He generally takes care of anything that has to do with talking to people. Though sometimes the others do get involved on that, but typically it's a lot of the bad situations have been avoided by Michael going in and having a chat with them. Usually at the end of a cane. He likes his cane. He doesn't need it. It's just fashion. But it is so good for whacking people.
Whack.
Moriarty, are you here?
He's still driving.
Alright, I wasn't sure if he was back yet. So, Moriarty... What?
It's not whacking, it's bonking.
No, that is what you do.
Bonk.
Moriarty plays Barney. Barney loves his rock, and he is kind of the old soldier kind of person of the group. He is much more the combat expert of the group. And then I'll let Drake.
He's the melee specialist.
I'll let Drake go next. Octo, that's you.
Sorry, what?
Introduce
Talk
your
about
character.
your character.
Oh. Well, my character is Drake. I'm kind of like the scout stalker of the party. I kind of do a different blend of stealth instead of less. It's more social and more like sneaking in shadows kind of thing. And yeah, my character is kind of like the new member of the pack since my werewolf was recently like had to join this pack because he lost his pack in the end.
And then Lars.
I am Larzang. I play as the kind of gun ranged type, like specialist werewolf. I'm also a soldier. My name is Nevin Fang, and I also worked as kind of a medic for my squad back when I was in the Army Rangers.
Yeah. And Toshime.
Yes, I'm Toshime. I'm here. Let's see. I'm playing as Perry, the one who should be knowledgeable on spirits.
All right, let's see. So, going down the list then. Frosthusky asks, well, if there are demons, there are angels. So the fallen used to be angels before they decided to disobey God for humanity. And when they got out, there was one thing they noticed. All the angels are gone for the most part.
Real quick,
sorry.
for the record, that is capital G God, because there are multiple gods in this system.
Yes. No one knows where the angels went to. No one knows where God went to. The demons don't know. All they know is that there are still only 2 angels running around trying to fix things as much as they can.
Oh, by the way, I need to kind of go right now. I'll be back to moderate later, though.
Okay.
Take care.
There are spirits and such that behave or act like angels, but they're not like true angels, like uppercase A angel. They have not been seen for a very, 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 very long time. Is there any other questions from anyone?
Does anyone want some of the soup?
Not a demon. Sorry, old habits. And you guys can also ask
Wrong
questions
character
too.
for that. Wrong character for that. You know, the demon thing was Cody.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't have any questions. I mean, a lot of this stuff I've kind of heard dozens of times at this point. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying I don't have any new questions.
Do the viewers know about Domino?
Oh, darling, you absolutely didn't forget about me, did you? I mean, if you are talking about the world of darkness, you of course would need to mention the changelings, the fae, and of course, moi. Zim, if I could have an introduction, please.
just introduced yourself.
Darling, I have to make a perfect entrance.
Well, then go ahead.
I need you to make my introduction. This is why you are playing one of my knights.
No, right now I'm Michael.
Yes, I know, different people, but you're all under the same banner here, darling. Different mask, same face. Come on, introduction, please.
Fine.
You see what I have to work with, everybody, honestly.
If you don't give me something to do, I'll have to amuse myself, and no one wants that.
Kur says perfect.
Ah, thank you, darling. Thank you. I am so glad you saw sense finally.
Kur, why did you say perfect?
Help me, please. Someone. Oh, darlings, this is so delightful to see you all here. We have so many here. I am Domino, the most perfect being in all the chats. And I am one of the great and powerful fair folk. I work quite a lot with this group, as well as the Exalted group and the mages on Sunday. I mean, you can't really have a game without me, after all. I'm in basically everything.
I don't know. I haven't seen you in Poker Roll. Or Ascent to Ascend.
Pokeball.
I was thinking the exact same thing about Pokeball. Like, you're not in Pokeball.
Darling, a Pokemon's
now.
body simply could not contain my perfection. Or at least I haven't found one that doesn't explode when I've tried. We've lost a couple of planets that way. Not really a loss, they were very imperfect, but well, people apparently tend to get unhappy when your world goes boom. Honestly, they just don't have an imagination, I would say.
I think you just aren't quite as perfect as you think.
I'm sorry, what
Clearly,
did you
if
say,
you
darling?
were, if you were as perfect as you think you are, you would have found a way into the Starlight game already.
Darling, I am simply too perfect. It is not my fault that your lesser thing cannot keep up with my perfection.
I don't know. Seems sus.
It's just like you mortals cannot understand my perfection and my gloriousness, darling.
I'm gonna have to agree with Zim here on this one. Or is it Michael? I cannot tell at the moment.
Darling, you don't get a vote. This isn't a democracy. I am simply informing you of the way the world works.
Well, right now that's 2 versus 1, so I think we win. I don't know, Amos. What do
Darling,
you
this is-
think?
Ah, yes, Fox Fiend. You're asking, well, Splendid Domino, please tell us about the Fae and the various
Wow.
factions among them. Of course I will, darling. You asked so politely. Of course I have to reward
Well,
that.
no.
Well-
Before you get into that, we gotta hear from Werny. You know, do you think Domino is just not as perfect as he thinks, and that's why he hasn't been able to show up in the Pokeball game yet?
Yeah.
There's some other games he hasn't shown up in yet.
Yeah, the Ascent to
Yeah.
Ascend as
That
well.
tracks.
I see you have chosen death.
He has shown
I'm
up
sorry.
in Kur Tales.
I'm going to have to say there hasn't been the perfect opportunity yet for it.
You see? He understands it!
Oh, so I just have to play the card then.
No, darling. It has to be the most perfect of introductions. It has to be the perfect moment for the perfect scene. Otherwise, well, how could I be expected to show up, honestly? But,
Well, why haven't
To-
you reached out to the storytellers to see about when you can show up?
darling, I am very busy. Look, darling, I know I'm here a lot, but I have very many other dimensions that I spend my time in.
Excuses, excuses, excuses.
Hey, Domino, we should go shopping for a form for you at some point for Pokemon. Sure, you'd love it.
Darling, you saying shopping? Oh, now you're speaking my language.
Oh, that would be a Mr. Mime.
No, Greaves is a Mr. Mime in the Pokerole game.
Oh, I thought Greaves was still Greaves.
He takes on this guise so as not to disturb everyone. Like, it's one thing to pass himself off as just a short human in a world where humans exist, but where there's no humans, he doesn't want to freak everybody out too much. You can't really sell much if everybody's terrified of whatever the hell this thing is.
So in the Pokemon universe, there's no humans?
No.
Oh.
But now, to answer your question, Foxfiend, I'm from Arcadia. It is a dimension basically right next to the World of Darkness. Separated by what is known as the Hedge, a great wall of thorns that you have to pass through on the little paths. So quaint and honestly adorable. But I and my fellow gentry reside as the rulers of Arcadia, able to do and create whatever we so please in order to tell our glorious stories. And well, what better way to spice up our tales than to include humans? They're such interesting creatures, after all, able to create and think of such new and interesting ideas, honestly, darling. It's very delightful. And by incorporating them into our tales as the victims, as the usurpers, as, well, whatever the hell we want them to be, honestly. I mean, I'm not too picky after all. But they spice up our story and give it an even more realism than they already had. And it's true, sometimes some humans do escape back into their little world. And well, sometimes we want them back. I mean, how do you expect the story to go on without the main character? Yes, sometimes we step back, we take the role of villain, or a side character to help guide them on the path in order to create the most thrilling tale that we possibly can, darling. Humans just don't understand it, though. They have all of these, well, rules and laws of the way the world should work. They don't understand that, well, everything is a one large play and we're merely playing our parts, darling.
Plus, people are your food.
To go into a little bit more detail of what Domino was saying, darling, I explained it perfectly well. Yeah, they might not understand it, so go sit down in a corner and be quiet. Shush you. Fair folk come from Arcadia. Fair folk are basically embodiments of pure wild. Basically pure chaos.
If you don't give me something to do, I'll have to amuse myself, and no one wants that.
Curse, that's perfect.
I did not say perfect. Well, darling, if you insist, I am more than willing to come back for more time. I hate you right now so much. Oh, darling, I love you. And I love all of you, too. You are so delightful to be around, darling. But yes, we...
So, about that explanation, you know?
The fair folk are pure wild. They are pure possibility, basically given form through stories, legends, myths, and belief. When a fair folk is created from Arcadia, they basically exist because they say so. They exist because they are in a story that's going on, and that conflict of whatever the story is about is what gives them purpose. It's basically how they eat. Without that story, without that conflict, they would just fade back into the myths and stories of Arcadia and basically cease to exist. So for them, when a fair folk, what they'll do is they'll kidnap humans and basically pit themselves against the humans as well as themselves against other fair folk. But they need that. They need that conflict. They need that fight. Without it, they can't exist. And they feed off of the beliefs of humans. They feed off of their legends, their stories. A fair folk might appear to be a god, might appear to be all-powerful, but they are still restricted by what they can and cannot do in the story. They're not always out to just kill you. That would make for a very boring and short story. They need that conflict. They need that fight. So they will usually limit themselves to be whatever role that they have put themselves into. However, the one saving grace that people have against them is iron. Fair folk, their magic, their creatures, anything that is related to Arcadia cannot abide the touch of iron. Iron, or worse, cold iron. Cold iron is iron that has never been worked by mortal flame. Very, very rare, very hard to get. It's meteoric iron is what you need for that. Meteoric iron will cut right through a fair folk's magic. Doesn't matter what they do, doesn't matter what they conjure, doesn't matter what they try to make. If you use that stuff, you're gonna fucking shred through whatever they try to do. And if you touch them, you're basically going to... It's like putting some of the strongest acid in the world on something and just watching it melt. Cold iron is their bane. It is the only saving grace that humanity has against the fair folk. And if you come walking in with iron on you, very likely they are not going to give you too much shit. Because, like, it doesn't matter if a fair folk has a godly sword. Your cold iron blade is going to cut right through that sword like a hot knife through butter. Because it's fair folk. It's made by a fair folk's magic. Or worse, it's made from part of them. It's just going to go right through it. You can't protect them. It doesn't matter if a fair folk is invulnerable to all harm and nothing can hurt it. A cold iron dagger will go right into it, and it will cut its heart out just as easily as you just making toast. In my world, in my lore, there is a court who has gathered up enough meteoric iron in order to create an actual suit of armor and a story. So this is going to be a little bit out. This will be a little bit out of the lore, but this is more for background for me. Domino is the very first game I ever ran was a game of Changeling for World of Darkness. One of my characters needed an antagonist for them, so me and her worked together and we created Domino together. And Domino, as we like to as we like to joke with each other, we have shared custody over Domino. We both share our baby. But Domino basically was meant to be an antagonist from there, and pretty much ever since then, he has shown up in every single game that I've ever run. Either because the players ran into him as an antagonist, or they went looking for him and wanting information. That's also, for those of you who've seen it, that's also where in the lore, Domino got I can talk, I swear. Domino got a soul shoved into him. In one of the mage games I ran, a group of mages got so annoyed by Domino, they decided they're going to deal with him once and for all, and they stuffed a soul into him. And ever since then, he has a mortal soul inside of him, which allows him to kind of understand people a little bit more and to kind of actually get things. Most fair folk, well, every other fair folk does not have a soul. They are also completely They're completely sterile when it comes to creativity. They cannot create. They can only make what already exists or combine things that already exist and reshape it in some way. But they cannot come up with just new concepts and ideas. They need people to do that for them.
Interesting.
So, in other words, they don't want to kill humans, they want to play with humans.
Pretty much, yeah. That's what
And
they do.
if you go with the exalted version of them, they feed off emotions.
Yeah, the exalted version of fair folk, which are even more of a raw type of fair folk, less together than they are in World of Darkness. Fair folk in Exalted do not have an actual physical form. They can take one, but their true form is basically like 5 gnashing, biting mouths around a central body. And these mouths feed on the souls and creativity of humans. It's delicious to them. Because humans can do what fair folk cannot. Once again, fair folk cannot create. They can only change or make what already exists. Ooh.
And then with the Fae, there's things like red caps, ogres, and
Fox Fiend asks, so for all of the Fae's power, they're still inferior to humanity just for the fact that humans can do something they can't. Create something new. Domino, how does that make you feel? Well, darling, it just so happens that I can do so, for I have incorporated a mortal soul into my form. And by doing so, I have heightened my perfection. I am the one and only fair folk in all of existence that is able to create something new. However, the world is not ready for my perfection, so I tend to keep it on the down low.
Did Domino have a child?
don't say that. Don't give Domino a child.
He's been
Don't
trying.
give Fae.
He has been trying.
He already does.
no.
Yes. But no, he's been trying, though, too. Domino does have one son.
Don't give children to Fae.
Yeah, don't do that. It's usually not good. No, darling. I have all the benefits, none of the downfalls. It's very, very difficult to kill us, for one. Let me explain. So you mortals can understand. You mortals exist only in one place at one time as one thing. Very, very small and tiny and compact, honestly. It's very adorable. We fair folk do not. We exist in multiple places as multiple things at once. For instance, I am here talking to all of you, while I am also in my manor, in another form, while also the manor itself. We fair folk have what are called titles. These are sort of names, I suppose, in the simplest term. But each title is its own individual being. We each also have what is called our true name. Domino is not my true name. It is simply my most favored name. As long as we have titles, we are safe. We are fine. No matter what someone does to us, we will be perfectly okay. we may lose our titles, and that is one of the things that us fair folk will constantly do when we are fighting and warring with each other, is fight over our different titles and such. The more titles you have, the stronger you are considered to be in our society. However, this changes for two things. One, our true name. If we make a vow upon our true name, if we break our word, we are instantly destroyed. No ifs, ands, or buts, we cease to exist if an oath is made upon our true name, and it is not carried out. The second is, if you do not have any other titles, we can prey upon your true name. And if we claim your true name, we claim all of you with it. Very few fair folk will risk losing all of their titles, because that will put them at risk for what we fair folk would consider to be true death. Otherwise, yes, you could kill me, this figure that you see before you. You could stab me with a cold iron sword through the heart. It's happened before. Yes, this version will die, but I myself, my true name, will still exist. And it is possible for me to recreate this form eventually, with enough time, effort, and if I'm so willingly inclined to do so. Unless you destroyed every single one of my titles, and then my true name, you cannot destroy me permanently. However, there is one issue that I have personally, and that is my dear sister, Onamod, which I know a few of you have met in your little mage get-together.
Yes, Cody's godmother.
Onamod is my sister. We share the same true name between us. Neither of us is required to go after each other's titles before we try to go for our true name. Neither of us has succeeded in besting the other, but we both share the same true name.
I'm gonna hop off. I'm getting pretty hungry, so I'm gonna go make some food.
Have a good one.
Yeah,
All right,
see ya, everyone.
see ya.
See ya, Zim.
Bye.
See ya, Kerr.
Yes, any other questions from anyone? Before Domino goes off on a ranting tangent again.
You
Kerr?
forgot to feed the red cap.
Yes?
Why are you so cute?
I am not cute.
Shall we turn into the chat?
How
No.
about adorable?
I'm not adorable.
Okay, then what you do? You want to be cool looking?
I'm gonna bump out as well. I didn't get a chance to nap before stream, and I am dying of not sleep.
Ah.
Y'all have a good one.
Jeez, it looks
Oh.
like our game wouldn't have lasted the full time anyways.
For a question,
Apologies.
what gave you intuition that you should do a Kur Tales instead of an actual session?
I plead the fifth. I cannot reveal that information.
Yeah, that is
Understood.
something we're not going to get into.
Spooky secrets.
Okay.
All right, there's a poll up, everybody.
Anyway, so Kur, if you're not cute, what are you? Are you clever looking? Are you beautiful? You cool looking? Tough looking?
He is fabulous, darling. Absolutely fabulous. You don't get a vote either, Domino. I, for one, put in a vote. He is very cute and adorable. Fuck you, Domino.
Also, Kurt, you haven't answered the question.
I plead the fifth.
As I said, RZ, we're not going to get into that.
But to also, since Zim is talking about if I'm cute and adorable, I am going to use this to toot my own horn and actually get to say I actually got Zim to watch Kamen Rider finally. I'm sorry, I'm happy.
It's not like you had to try for that. It was more me harassing you about never trying. You don't get to toot your horn on that, because, you know.
I get to. I am happy, okay?
Foxfiend did have a question for you, though.
So what's going on in the campaign right now? Right now, the characters are basically preparing for what is to come. They basically have a few months of prep time to train, get better, get stronger, and to try to prevent issues and problems that are going to be happening. They have seen the future. They know what's coming. What horrible things are in their future. They also have a dragon. They have a cute dragon in power armor.
What is this cute dragon's name? I want to know more.
They found a dragon in a city and decided we're going to take him with us. And then in order to make sure reality didn't eat the dragon out of reality or kill it, they put him in a suit of basically hermetically sealed power armor that isolates him from reality. So reality can't kick him out.
I approve.
Yes, he is cute and adorable. Oh yes, time traveling werewolves. Yes, yes they are.
So, shall we, Hello there, Dragon Cream Pie! If you guys fund it, I will make it happen.
So to answer your guys' question there, they went looking for a issue in the spirit world and they came across a city of mages that was basically destroyed. Everyone in it was dead. And they found the dragon who was a guardian of the city. And they took him in because they didn't want to leave the cute, adorable dragon alone in a dead city.
Well, good on them.
The dragon
They
is
did
a
the right
very
thing.
good boy.
As for why they got sent to the past, that was a thing of I wanted to try to give them a chance to get used to things again. So I decided to dial things back, and we use this as basically the mobile plot to make it happen. Yep, I let them adopt a dragon. I tend to let my players do what they want, so long as they give me a reason for why they want to do it. They wanted to adopt the dragon, so they went to the work of actually adopting the dragon. Yeah, so the reason they put it in power armor is because they ended up meeting a group of technocratic mages in the city that they helped out. And in order to basically pay back the wolves, they put the dragon in a suit of power armor so that he could come with them. The wolves made friends, and the friends helped them. Also, one of the things that I like to joke about with my players, one of the things they're never ever allowed to say is never tempt fate, especially if you're a mage.
But what's the worst that could happen?
How much paradox do you have right now?
Cody? I don't think he has any.
I know, that's the joke, though. How much paradox do you have right now? Let's see how bad it can get.
You want to tempt fate? Go talk to Jupiter.
The dragon is fairly powerful. He was a guardian spirit. So he is a fairly strong spirit. And, well, he does have a pair of chain guns on him, too.
Plus plushies.
Yes, yes. The dragon liked to collect plushies, so he has a plushie horde. And yes, when the werewolves got picked up, they brought the plushie horde with them.
Oh, that's adorable.
Yes, he has
What
like
was
a.
his name?
I'd have to go back through and dig it up from my notes. I don't have my notes open right now. Yes, no, he has like a whole collection of like over 1,000 plushies that he kept, and he brought them all with him.
Well, Dragon Cream Pie, most of the players have stepped out for the evening because we're not actually having a regular session tonight. But I know in my character's case, by the way, I am Zim. I'm the owner of the channel here. I know you're new here. In this game, normally I play Michael. He is the spy of the group. So for him, he tends to have various cameras and other forms of recording devices with him. He does have a small selection of weapons, but for his favorite outfit is a fine suit with the suit itself is black, but he's got a a crimson red undershirt. And that's the suit he wears when he has to go in and knock some sense into Pentex. The Pentex is basically the big, bad, evil corporation of the world. But he goes in his red suit, and he kind of beats people around the head with a cane, while letting them believe that he is a black spiral dancer. Which might be worth explaining, actually. Or at least briefly, Kur.
You cut out there for me?
Explaining about black spiral dancers.
Okay, I can do that. The Black Spirals are a tribe of werewolves that the Black Spiral Dancers. They are a tribe of werewolves that fell to the worm. They are a group of werewolves that now seek to kill and destroy Gaia. That's their goal. The reason they have their name, the Black Spiral Dancers, is because within Malpheus, the land of the worm, there is what is known as the Temple of the Spiral. And to progress down the ranks of the dancers, you have to go deeper and deeper into the temple. It's considered a rite of passage. Every new dancer has to go into that temple. And by doing so, it basically drives the dancer mad. It drives them insane. And when they come back out, they've been basically permanently corrupted, so to speak. So usually they're just called black spirals or a dancer. They are probably one of the worst threats to Gaia because of they are werewolves. They are just as strong as like the player characters are, but they are dedicated to the exact opposite. They want to see the world die in the most horrific and terrifying fashion they possibly can. They also have their own code as well. The Black Spirals do not care about the Matisse. So they have massive, massive numbers compared to the rest of the tribes. They are the only tribe whose numbers are not shrinking on a yearly basis, that are actually growing. They also have a rule where before they are allowed to kill any werewolf, they must attempt to get the werewolf to come over to their side. It's one of the requirements that their code demands of them. If the werewolf says no, then go ahead and enjoy ripping their guts out. But if they say yes, then you have to take them to Malpheus and basically have them dance the Black Spiral. And they will be corrupted and join the pack.
Exactly.
Some dancers are batshit fucking crazy. Some dancers are much more subtle and insidious. It really depends dancer by dancer. The most dangerous ones are the very subtle ones. The ones who can act normal. They're the ones who are always going to be the most dangerous ones, usually. There is one case. I believe, if I remember correctly, there is a case of one person who has gone into the Black Spiral and was not corrupted by it. Normally no. If you get thrown into there, usually you're going to break and be corrupted. It's the same thing that happens in Nefandi. The Nefandis mage, the ones I was talking about earlier, that are batshit fucking crazy and trying to destroy the world, they also dance the Black Spiral when they go through their change as well. I believe there is one case, though, of one werewolf who is able to go into the temple and was not corrupted by it. He was actually able to resist it.
So what happened there?
That's how I was trying to remember. I was looking through my stuff trying to find it. So what basically happened is this was a werewolf who was so pure and so devoted to Gaia that when you go into the Black Spiral, when you go into the Temple Obscura and dance the Black Spiral, there are different circles that you go through. And each circle does something else. It does something to you. And there are tons of different worm spirits and such that prowl the halls and such, and who work on corrupting and causing issues and harm to the person who goes into it. Like when you go into the first one, what it does, it's called the Circle of Insight. And the worm spirits who are there will begin to whisper the deepest, darkest things that are inside of you that you try to hide from yourself. The dark urges and feelings that you have. that are inside of you, that are a part of you. And usually this is enough to start getting people to break and start going crazy as they try to deny it or fight against it or argue against it or revel in it and such. And usually it's enough to break almost all werewolves. This werewolf, though, basically when he went in, he accepted what they said as a part of him and denied them. And the act was supposedly so backbreaking that it caused all of the spirits to flee in terror of him. And things get worse. The deeper down you go into the black spiral, into the spiral labyrinth, it basically causes more and more insanity and craziness. Everything is different. It's always going to be shaped by the person who's currently dancing, which is what they call going through it, dancing. The dancer is always going to be the person who kind of shapes what happens and decides what kind of hell they're going to be walking into because it's drawn directly from them. It's sort of tailor-made to corrupt and twist whichever person goes through it. Let's see.
And if you do decide to go through it, then you're not going to have a fun time.
Yeah, so the werewolf that survived was actually thrown into it. They were trying to corrupt him. He did not enter the temple of his own free will. He was thrown into it. Basically, they were trying to torture and break him, and it didn't work out. It's in some ways worse for a mage who goes through it because they literally have their souls inverted and twisted. But yeah, no. Anything that has to do with the worm is going to be very, very nasty, very, very bad. Very, very. The worm is one of the very few, like, fully just black things in a world of gray.
Unless it's
No
the
matter what.
unbroken worm.
Let me see something real quick. Let me see if I can find something. I want to see if I can find something. Oh, okay, yeah, they did. Here we go. I'm going to share a picture in the Discord. Zim, if we could bring this picture up on stream.
All right, go ahead and send it to me.
Okay, I'll send it here. Boop.
Just send it directly to me.
Okay.
Foxfiend's wondering the tribes of wolves were running.
Let's
right
let
now,
Kur finish this little bit, and then he can get to that.
I wanted to share a little picture of the worm and some of its minions and such, of what, like, Malpheus looks like.
It really is not very big. Well, it's
No.
big, just tall.
It needs to be wide.
Yeah, this is actually official artwork, though, from one of the very few official pieces of artwork we have. So I thought I would share it. Because the worm is technically actually a hydra, which you can actually see here. You see 2 of the heads. I think it's Beast of War and Eater of Souls there. And of course, you have some of its minions. As for what the characters are doing right now, I use old world lore, but we're using new World of Darkness werewolves because the system is a little bit easier for new players. And quite a few of our players in here are new, so I thought I would start them easier. Is there any other questions from anyone? Feel free to ask anything your heart desires.
Oh, we did
Why so
have a
cute?
question.
What's up?
What tribes are the wolves you are running from?
I did answer that.
Oh. It sounded like you answered what system they're from.
Oh no, that's just because the 2 tribes are very different. Just ask, where did the worm come from? The worm is one of... Oh, my headphones fell off. One sec. Get my headphones back on. There we go. The worm is one of the 3 primordial forces that holds reality together. You have the wild, which is creativity and creation, basically pure chaos. You have the weaver, who takes that chaos and spins it into stability, to solid forms. And then you have the worm, whose duty was for when things wore out and were no longer needed, to unmake them. The weaver got really sick and tired of the worm breaking all of her stuff, so she started to spin the worm into her web. She trapped the worm and drove him insane. And the worm, his whole thing of trying to destroy and unmake reality is simply because he's trying to escape the weaver's web. The worm was originally meant to be a force of balance and basically renewal. It would destroy things, let the energy return back to the wild so they could be made back into new things. Out with the old and with the new, so to speak. Yeah, really, it's the Weaver's fault. It really is. Because the Weaver wants to spin all of reality into stasis, into unchanging, unmoving stasis. Basically, her form of perfection. The Weaver is, in many ways, not that good. Though it's not as nasty as the worm is. It is definitely nowhere near good, though. Ah. Anything else?
Well, clearly all we need to do is go back in time and kick the Weaver's butt.
You do know her in Exalted. She does exist there. She is the god of all the pattern spiders.
And that's the one where the sidereals get their power from, right?
Yes. Well,
Perfect.
the sidereals get their power from the 5 mains of Fate. Ashna Firstborn is part of a different power structure there. She's directly in charge of the loom.
Okay, so Nevis just needs to go kill the Weaver. Got it. So that'll be his Tuesday. Now, what are we going to do for him on Wednesday?
Now, you believe you're going to do that. If you really want to get the Weaver's attention, mess with the mask.
Don't do that. Don't do that. The mask is one of the constellations in the sky. It governs secrets and knowledge. If you destroy or damage the mask, things that should be secrets suddenly become common knowledge, and common knowledge becomes the deepest, darkest secrets.
Damn, I forgot how to breathe.
Yes.
Impressive.
Oh, hello there, Rygon.
Hello. I saw that people were kind of popping out a little bit earlier, so I figured it was safe to come in.
Oh, yeah. Right now, Kur is taking a big old lore dump over everyone.
Steaming.
And we were also talking about what form Domino would take in Pokerole.
Can confirm. Apparently they all just blow up.
I just prefer Mr. Mime so they don't talk.
Mr. Mime talks.
Not mine.
Ah. Well, I guess we'll have to find a different form for Greaves then. Because Greaves would definitely talk. Kind of hard to sell things if you can't hark your wares.
No,
Well, I
listen,
feel like the harking can certainly be done in, non-talky ways.
Foxfiend, that depends on the, like, Detective Pikachu, Mr. Mime doesn't talk. However, in all of the anime, he does.
Mime.
I don't know. I find it far funnier in a loreful way that he doesn't talk.
Well, we still need a different form for Greaves then, because he's very much a talker.
Oh, what's to say that you all haven't, met him already? Maybe he was at Kecleon in the shop. It's like, boy, those shops certainly are convenient and everywhere.
Question: what form does Greaves normally take outside of Pokemon?
Greaves is a gnomish merchant.
Okay, that fits.
But I could see a Kecleon. It would make a lot of sense, Because it would explain how, the Kecleons just suddenly are everywhere. Anyways, carry on, Kurt.
I'm trying to think of what else to talk about now.
Well, I mean, we could wrap this up if you prefer.
Could be a good stopping point.
Okay. Well, I'll be up in the streaming room then if anybody wants to join me for later.
Kur, I am assuming that Exalted is going to be canceled?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I want to save my stuff for Sunday.
Okay. Bring in the New Year strong.
I want to make sure Tanya doesn't murder me.
Oh no, what are you doing?
No, I mean Tanya would probably murder me if I didn't run.
Oh, well, yeah, if you just stand there and let her catch you, of course she's gonna murder you.
Have you seen what she does with trees?
I have seen what kinds of trees she summons.
Oh no, she doesn't summon them. She just touches a tree and makes it do it.
Yeah, it is pretty scary.
Now all I need to do is figure out a way to get Zim to share Common Writer with everyone here. I will have so many converts.
Well,
Become
maybe
dragon
if you
first.
came around more, you could. It's a lot easier to share something when a fan of it and somebody that knows it is around.
I will bring all into the light. All will see the truth.
Well, everyone, thank you all so much for joining us today for Kur Tales. Check out our website, zgfgaming.com. We've got links for our Discord, Telegram, Twitter, Patreon, and more. There on the website, as well as down in the description below through our link tree. Thank you to my patrons, donators, and subscribers. It is because of your support that I'm able to continue bringing these streams to you all. I really cannot do this without your guys' help and support, so thank you. Consider becoming a patron over at patreon.com/zgfgaming. It is one of the best ways to support the channel, though you can also do so by simply sharing the stream around. But for now, thank you all so much for joining, and I bid you the most fondest adieu.
Bye.
Bye.
Adieu.